Hi, Scott Weaver from Factory Direct Designers Workroom, and today our lesson is going to be how to make a swag, or actually a swag pattern. And to start off here, well, first let me tell you this. This is going to actually replace one of my very first videos. I had part 1 and part 2 on how to make a swag. They were very popular on YouTube. Just about 400,000 people had viewed it between the two parts, but the sound quality was just horrible. It was my very first video, and I used my laptop, and the fan went on in the laptop and it really distorted it. So it's about time that I replace it with a new one. So here we go. Anyhow, on the table right here is a swag pattern. I apologize that I'm using a white pattern on a white table, but I'm going to give you some of these principles. Here is a swag pattern that I sell on eBay in our store. And my wife asked me, she said, "Well, why are you teaching them how to make a swag if you're selling it?" Well, the answer is this. It's not that I need the money. It's because people have asked me, "Well, can I just buy a pattern?" And I said yes, and I got so many emails that I decided to put them on an eBay store. But the reason I really want to do it is because I want people to learn. I want to keep sewing alive, and it just seems like, at least in the United States and probably other countries, you just go out and you purchase now. Nobody's making clothes. Nobody's making their own stuff. Nobody understands the achievement of how good it feels when you actually make something and the pride that comes with it. So I want to keep that alive. I want to keep it alive for everybody. So that's really my purpose of it. And I love swags and jabos. They're a timeless classic. You know, they've been around for centuries, and there's such heritage to them. And they look great no matter whether you have a formal dining room or an eat-in kitchen. It doesn't matter. They always look good. My wife of 15 years, she's an interior designer. And of course, I've run a workroom for many, many years. And I still love the swag and jabbo look. So here we go, about the swag. The first thing you have to learn is the formula of the swag and how to set it up. So the first portion of it is to understand the pleating. This has 6 pleats to it. It's 18 inches deep, and this is what they call a pleat. Right here, these are called pleats. I've broken this up in width in 3 different sections. This section right here where the pleats is, now this is a 42-inch wide pattern. So this part of the pleating is 14 inches. What I call the neck is the solid part right here, there's no pleating, is also 14 inches. And then going back to this pleating is 14 to make 42 inches. And that's part of a calculation you're going to need to know. Now the second thing is you need to cut a piece of material. Well, how wide of a piece of material do you have to cut? Well, this is the formula. You take the width of your swag, and then you take the drop of it. So if you take 42 inches wide plus your 18 inches, you're going to come out with 60 inches. And you see this little string that I have right here? And the reason why I have that is because that's the basic principle of making a swag. If your swag is 40 inches wide by 18, it takes 60 inches of material, because the string, let me show you another piece of string here. When you take a string straight out and you drop it down, that's the difference. If it's here, if this here is 30 or 46 inches, and you drop it down 16 inches, the width of it's 30 inches. So that's the principle of how wide you need to cut your fabric. So again, if you have a 30 by 16 inch wide swag, you're going to need 46 inches material. If you have a 40 inch by 20 inch drop, you need 60 inches of material, and so on and so forth. So that's the rule of thumb there. As far as the drop, how much you need, in drop. A safe guess would be 2 times the length. So again, you've got 18 inches. It's going to take approximately 36 inches of fabric to come out with it. If it was 20 inches deep, it would be 40. So that's the principle of it. And just another little tidbit here is in the width, 42 by 18, you have a 60-inch wide, that's fine. In the length, however, when you're doing 2 times the length, which is 36 inches, you want to add a little bit because you don't want to just come to here. In this formula here, you've got plenty to work on, but in the length, give yourself another 4 inches. So you got 18 times 2 is 36, another 40, you're going to have 40 inches. So I went ahead and I cut a piece. And it's 60 inches this way, and it's 40 inches this way. And I drew a line in the center. Hopefully you can see that. There's a line right here. And that's the center line of my swag. So I always, that's important. You see the center line on this one. There's one drawn right here. So when you cut your piece of material, make sure you put a center line. That's going to keep your pleating straight. So with this, I'm going to fold this in half. Like so. So that's step number 1. Now we're going to talk about how we mark this. How do we get the angle here? I go back and use this as my guideline. The neck, we already explained, is 15 inches. I'm sorry, 14 inches in here. So on your pattern, on your piece of fabric, and this is just a 100% cotton drapery lining is what I'm using. It's a Hanes product. So, I'm sorry, it's a Ring-No Stain, it's a Rockland product. So anyway, I'm going to mark this off at 7.5 inches because it's folded in half to make up the 15. That's that. Then I'm going to go past this first mark, the very first mark, by 6 inches. So I'm going to put another mark at 6 inches. Now that 6 inches is because the first pleat has to go past here. So just keep that in mind. So I'm just adding another line at 6 inches for now. Now we're going to draw the angle. So I've got this figured out. We're going to show you. My first pleat is going to take 3 inches to make this pleat. And then my second, third, fourth, and fifth, and sixth, boom, 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 all those are going to take 5 inches each. So there you have 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 28 inches. And then I'm going to need 6 inches for the bottom cuff, which is this cuff right here at the bottom that comes up around here. So that's 34 inches. So what I'm going to do now is where I drew my line 6 inches past, I'm going to take my tape measure, my ruler, and I'm going to put a mark at 34 inches. So I'm going to come right from this mark to the very edge of my fabric here. And I'm going to draw a line. Okay, so it looks like this. And again, the way I determine where my line is drawn is by my pleating. Here. So I came up 3, 5, 5, 5, 5, and 6 for my bottom cuff is 34 inches. And I know I'm going right to the edge of my fabric here. So I took my tape measure, I took my ruler rather, and I brought it out to 34 inches to the edge. I drew my line. Now, going back to this 3 inches and the 5, 5, now I'm going to mark off 3 inches, 5 inches, 10, 15, 20, 25, which now leaves me the 6 inches right here. I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to cut this off, and making sure you're leaving your pencil lines on. Now, the next step is, this is my center of my swag because it's folded in half. I'm going to put a V, a little V notch right there. A little V notch is something I like to do, but I'm also going to put another V mark right here. And this V is where the neck is. That's this portion right here that we discussed, which is 14 inches, and half of that 7 inches. So I just put a mark there, a little V. Then I'm going to put little V's, or notches, and then, right where this is starting to straighten out, right here, I'm going to make a little half roundness, just to cut away some of the excess, because this is going to be round. It's going to change. Unfortunately, my table is white, so I hope you can see that. Okay, and then I'm going to open this up. Then I'm going to bring this pattern over so you can see it a little better. Now I have the same notches on both sides. Okay, so there's my notches, 3 inches, 5 inches, 5, 5, 5, 5, and my last one is 6 inches. My notch is up at the top. The second notch is where it's going to be flat. Now we're going to go ahead and we're going to start pleating. This is what I call my pleating board. One of the reasons why I started on YouTube is because I've watched people do this, and they have it hanging off here, and they're trying to hold it, and they're trying to put pins in, and they're grabbing one side, and they're coming over this side, and they're doing something funky. And I said, no, that's really not the right way to do it. This is the correct way. And believe me, I have been in this business for over 30 years now. I was taught by some of the most top people in design, and I'm just passing along what I had learned. So the pleating board is about a 1/2 inch. If you don't have this, maybe a piece of pine board, and then some push pins. I'm going to take a couple push pins because this is like having 2 more hands right here. And it also has a straight edge. And straight edge is important because that way you can see what you're doing. That being said, I'm going to take right where the center of my line is. I'm going to grab that material. I'm going to grab my first V, and I'm going to bring it up to where my neck is supposed to start. Then I'm going to take my other side, and grab it, put it up to my second V. I'm going to turn this around so you can see the first pleat. Okay, there's my very first pleat, just like that. You notice the fabric is hanging off of the board, and you want it to hang off the board just like that, because when you're done pleating every one of them, you're going to cut this off, and that's what's going to form your pleats. There's your first one. And you want to keep yourself organized. You can't go one side and then do the other side. You're going to start right where the center line is. That's why you have it there. You're going to grab some material, and you're grabbing it, and you're going to about 1.5 inches, 2 inches down from the first one. So you can see where I have this just like that. Now, from here, you're going to come up and grab that second V, pull it. Now you can see where I've already got a line going across. Then you're going to bring it over on top. How much? Not sure yet, but say about 1 inch. Put another pin. Holding the center line again, go back, grab your next V. Pull it, give it a little tug. See that line that's starting to form? Bring it up on top. Now am I going to say this is going to come out exactly right? No. But this is your starting point, and then we adjust our swag after. Again, I'm holding it, and maybe if I bring it over here, I'm going to show you on this side of the table, maybe you'll get a little better view of what it looks like. Adjust this down a little bit. Bring it back. Okay, so there we have it. My next V right here, or I'm sorry, my next line right here, going up to my V, pulling it, and bring it up to the top. You're keeping your spacing here as close as you can in spacing for now. And you see where that's already formed? And come over to the next side right here, give it a little pull, bring it up. And you got to take time with this. Don't rush. Don't drink 3 cups of coffee and expect to do this. You got to stay calm. Anytime you try to rush a pattern, it never comes out right. You have to have the time. You know, if you do it on a Sunday, a lazy day or something, you're definitely going to have better luck with it. Okay, so now I just pinched that material. Let me show it again. It's down like that. I'm going to grab it. I'm going to bring it up like so. Little pinch. Grab that pinch with one hand. Grab your V with the second. Give it a little tug. Bring it up. The other side, same thing. Here. Give it a tug. Bring it up. And we're just going to keep repeating that process. If you find you're getting off, like this looks a little bit too deep to me, remove your pin and readjust where you're grabbing so it might be a little closer. And your last pleat. Now we have to start measuring to see where we are. Let's take a look at it up here. This is what we have so far, what it looks like. It's a good start. Now I'll get my tape measure, see how close we are. And my scissors. Now where I'm going to measure from is out here. And I want to see where we're at. We're at 13 inches. Well, let's see, if I get it 13.5 inches now, and let's see what the whole thing is. We want 42, which is 21 inches. I'm barely getting it. It's right there. But I'm going to say I'm going to have to spread these pleats out a little bit. Over here, a lot more. That's fine. Let's see how our length is. Now the length, when you're measuring the length should be from the top of the board down to this pleat, not counting this. So I'm about 19 inches, which is fine. We wanted 18 inches. 19 and 19.5 is a good variable because to make an 18-inch swag, you're going to lose it in sewing. You're also going to lose it when you tack it onto the board or put the tacking strip on here. So you're going to lose a little bit. So actually the length isn't bad. The spacings in between aren't bad, but I do have to adjust my pleating at the top so they both look about the same. So what I have to do is just a little adjustment on both sides. I'm going to measure, I want from this line, it's going to be 42 inches. From the center line here, I want to come out 21 inches. And from that line, I also want 21 inches. That looks pretty good. Okay, this is looking pretty good. I'm checking my spacing here to make sure my spacing looks pretty on target. I'm going to show you another good indication of whether you're hitting your mark pretty good on your pleating. And all you have to do is look at your pleating board. I want you to take a look at where this point's coming to. It's coming to about a ½ inch down from the board. Now, look at this side. It's about the same. So what that's telling me is that I'm pretty darn close in my pleat. Now, if one side was up real high and this side was down a little bit, that means you got something off kilter. And then you'd be looking at that center line and saying that center line, and that's another reason why you have a center line, is because if you see the center line starting to go over to one side, and then you see this side really up high up over the board, start over. That's the time to start over. So now, what I'm going to do is we have to get the size. Starting from my center line, I'm going over to 21 inches. I'm putting a little mark at 21 inches because that's where I have to cut it off. I'm coming over to this side to 21 inches. And I'm here. That's my, so now I know from this mark to that mark is 42 inches. Now the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to cut all the waste off of the top. I'm going to bring it around here. And this is why you need a pleating board. That's why if you're looking at a YouTube video and they're showing you how to make a swag, they don't have a pleating board, don't listen to them. I'm sorry to say that, but it's true. Okay, here we go. Using your board as a straight edge, a cutting edge, cut it off. Going to the other side, and do the same thing. Got that so far? Now we have to finish off what we're looking like so far. But as I said in the beginning of the film, is we cut this larger than we needed. So now we have to cut that back. And we also have to cut this back. So we have a nice looking cuff. Now I've been doing this for so long I can eyeball it pretty good. What you may want to do is cut a little off and just keep adjusting until you get it. But I can pretty much eyeball it. And a good way to do this is to start with your bottom here and cut right along. Right, and keep in mind though, you also have to leave a 1/2 inch for your sewing allowance. Because if you cut too much away, you're going to lose your bottom cuff. So you got to make sure that you're leaving enough. And so there's my little V right there. And I'm going to just pick it up again, take a look at where that's going to land, and that doesn't look too bad. Okay, so that's done. Now I have to get rid of the waste. And I'm just going to, you can almost see where that outline is right there. You're not going to cut it there. You can cut it away from it and taper it in. Now what you could do is take this piece and put it over there. Trim this a little bit better. And do the same on the other side, but I'm not going to do that. I'm going to do what you call eyeballing. Pick it up, take a look at it. And there you have it. That's what it looks like. It looks pretty close to the other one here. Compare this one to the one I've already made up. It's like this. We're going to be darn close. So there you have it. That's what it looks like. Now you're not done here. What you want to do at this point, remove these, and I do have a video on how to pleat the swag, how to cut it, how to sew it, how to pleat it. It's all on my YouTube channel. Now you're going to open it up like this. Then you're going to cut along this line, and you're going to use either this half or this half. Don't use this full pattern because it's not going to be the same. When you fold it in half, there should be some discrepancies. Okay, not much. That's the pattern folded in half, but there's a little bit here and a little bit here. So at this point, it might be worth you cutting this half, taking another piece of fabric, fold it in half, and trying each half to see which half works the best. I'm going to say if you're this close, it really isn't going to make a whole lot of difference. But if you do notice that when you fold your pattern in half and you've got a lot of differences, then yes, you're going to want to change it out. If you do, try both sides. And a real quick lesson on pleating it, which you will find on my website. But since we took it apart, you're probably wondering, if it's the first time you're watching, how do I pleat it back up? Well, we're just going to go back and do it. Just a couple pins, and you'll see where that V is right there. Bring this V up to your notch, right to where you had your notch. Same thing on the other side, bring it up to where your notch is. And we're pretty much doing the same thing we did to begin with. Grabbing your lining, grabbing that V. That's, believe it or not, that's where you first grabbed it the first time. Bring it up to the top of your board. You're always starting with the center. It's not going to form itself. Just by going up here, you have to work the center each time. You can see I'm working left, right, and always starting with the center. Always grabbing the center line. Give this a little yank, boom, like that. That gives you that little line. It's like pulling a little rope, you know. You can see where you're supposed to go. there you have it. You're back together again, just how you were before. So anyway, that's how to make a swag pattern. I wish you the best of luck. I have a lot of YouTube videos on just about almost every topic on window treatments. I'm adding new ones weekly, so stay tuned, and I hope you enjoyed this, and I hope you make a fantastic swag treatment like the one that's up there. Oh, another point too. You'll notice that one only has 4 pleats to it. Only has 4 pleats to it because it's only 12 inches deep. So another point to be made is you're not going to put 6 pleats in something that's only 12 inches. It's got way too much. So that's another factor when you're making a pattern that you got to keep in mind how deep it's going to be. So if it's 12 inches, it's going to have 4 pleats. If it's 16, it should have around 5 pleats. If you're making something 20 inches to 22 inches, 6 pleats. If you're making something 25 inches deep, you're going to have to add some more pleats to it. This way you're not crowding your pleats. If you put 6 pleats, that would be way too crowded. But on the same hand, if that was going to be 20 inches drop and you only had 4 pleats, it would be spaced out way too far. Keep that in mind. Good luck. Have a nice day. Thanks for watching.